Hello and welcome to SusyBLiving's moon phase gardening schedule for the rest of the week. So today is Wednesday the 5th of June and I am going to give you the moon phases for the rest of the week until Sunday. I'll be back on Sunday evening and what I am going to be doing during those phases. So let's start. Okay, so today, Wednesday, the 5th of June, was an unfavourable day, and so is tomorrow, the 6th of June. Thursday, the 6th of June, is also an unfavourable day. It is unfavourable because we have a new moon, and when we have a new moon and when we have a full moon, the energy goes a little bit kind of skew-if. And it's not a great time to do any sowing, I have found. In my years of doing gardening by the moon, which is many, I've experimented during these unfavourable times with all of the different categories of veg, and none of them really worked, I found. So what would happen is I'd either get no germination, or I'd get germination and then the plants were really weak, or then I would find later on in the season they would get some kind of a disease or pest quite early in the season. So for me, it's actually not worth, what's going on with this chair? Not worth sowing anything on unfavourable days. So tomorrow I will be tidying. I keep saying I'm tidying up. You probably think I live in a dump. Yeah, well, actually, I will be tidying up yet again. You can do some weeding is fine. Weeding doesn't really matter, but I kind of leave all my, especially my sowing, transplanting. If something is desperate and it's got to go out either into a bigger pot or into the ground, for goodness sake, just do it. Like I say, I don't like to be really dogmatic, but I do find that sowing is quite an issue with unfavourable days. So that is Thursday. So Friday the 7th of June is my first sowing day for June, and it is a roots day. It is only a roots day for the day, so if you've got any roots that you want to go in, please sow them on Friday if you possibly can. I am going to do a few extra potatoes. If you watched my What I Am Sowing in June video, you will see that I outlined what I am doing for the month according to moon phase days, and I mentioned my potatoes. So I have a few first early potatoes left, and I've got a few Charlottes as well, which are second early. So first early potatoes need 75 to 80 days to grow, and that's it. And Charlottes need about 120 days, and then that's it as well. They then start dying off. I've got a perfect example here of some first earlies that I've got in this veggie bag here, and they're starting to go yellow. The hulms, the green parts are starting to die off, and then you're not going to get any more growth underground. So you can put first early potatoes in, you know, still for the whole of the summer, and you'll still get them. That's why they grow first early potatoes for Christmas potatoes. So I'll do a few of those, and I'm going to do them in pots. I'm not going to do them in the ground because with pots I can put them under cover. If I start to see some blight on them when they're in the ground, you just have to cross your fingers. And this year, we might just have to cross our fingers with the old blight. I was over at the allotment today, and my second early potatoes, my Estima potatoes, are looking good. And then I also have two blight-resistant varieties as well, which are the Sapo potatoes, and they're looking good as well. I'm also going to be sowing some main crop beetroot. So I'm going to be doing two red varieties. One is called Pablo and one is called Detroit 2 Crimson Globe. They, I find, store really well in the winter. So I'm going to be sowing my 40 cell trays like this. Can't even pick it up. Like this. This has got my beans in here, and I will be doing two of those, one with the reds, and the other is with the golden. And the golden beetroot that I like to do at this time of year for storing is called Boldor. I've tried to store Burpee's golden through the winter, but they don't store very well. They get a little bit spongy and they start to shoot, but Boldor stores very, very well. So I will be doing 2 trays of those, and I'd be putting 2 seeds per cell. So that's my sowing. Transplanting. Now I've got some leeks on the go, and I'm looking at them now. Are they going to be ready? I've put a question mark beside this just to see, I don't know whether they will be ready to transplant, because I want to transplant them over at the allotment. So they need to be quite large to cope with the challenges I have on the allotment. So they may not be ready. I'm thinking about it. The other thing I've got to transplant is some kohlrabi. I have some red kohlrabi, and that's going to go in here at home. In the kitchen garden. And the other thing I have is Florence fennel as well, and that's going to go in here in the kitchen garden to transplant. So weeding and maintenance. So I keep saying that I'm going to take these carrots out of the greenhouse and take them outside. I'm starting to push everything in this greenhouse towards the door, and the carrots are pushing towards the door because I'm starting to fill up behind me in the greenhouse. So they are definitely going to have to go out on Friday. I'm going to put some net over the top of them because I don't want them to get carrot fly, and carrot fly is rampant in June. So if you do have carrots outside and you know that there is carrot fly about, please put something over it. I use the extra fine veggie mesh over all my carrots. I've got some in the garden as well. I need to weed those actually, so that's part of my weeding and maintenance. Radish. I have radish in my medium-sized veggie pod, and it's slow, really slow. The weather has slowed it down. So they're starting to form little radish. I need to just get in there again, weed. A couple of them are bolting, which is fine because I've got, I don't know how many hundreds in there I've got. So I need to do that. Garlic. Okay, if you watched my vlog, you will see that I talked about my garlic, and my garlic has rust. So I'm going to, I'll check it again, and I hope that the bulbs underneath are swelling. The elephant garlic definitely is. The other garlic was just starting. It's a little bit of a nightmare, but I'm kind of coming to terms with the fact that I may not have garlic or great garlic this year. So I need to digest it actually, because I've never had rust here at home. That's why I grow my garlic here in the kitchen garden. I get rust on the allotment, and everybody on the allotment has got rust, but I think this year is a year for rust. So check the garlic. Okay, shallots. If you watched my vlog again, I talk about another challenge that I have this year, which is white rot, and that I am seeing a little bit on my shallots over at the allotment. So it's time again to get that net up off the shallots and see whether they're ready. They're coming thick and fast now, the shallots, and also my red onions are starting to be ready over there as well. They're starting to go to seed, and when the flower heads, you can start to see them coming up through the green. Now, you can do one of two things. You can either pick them like I'm doing, and I use them small, and I use them in the green. They call them green onions, so they're not cured. And that is why I grew these red onions. So it's not a mistake of mine, because I have my main crop onions in another bed, which I mainly grew from seed. When you grow onions from seed, and it is a little bit of a palaver, as we say here in the UK, which means a little bit of a faff. to get the onions going, they are less likely to bolt and go to and get flower heads coming. So that's why if you want to grow main crop onions, it is actually worth doing them from seed. I also have, saying that, I also have sets over there as well. So we'll see what happens. The other thing is also, if you're going to store onions and cure onions, if you grow them from sets, they are more likely to sprout in the winter as well. So let's have another look. Okay, weeding and maintenance. So my leek bed on the allotment, I had a very quick look today as I walked past. It's looking quite good actually, but it needs a weed. So I need to just get in there and check it. Carrots and the beetroot. Okay, so I have very small beetroot. I've got some here at home and I've got some in the greenhouse on the allotment. I think I'm going to start pulling them out in the greenhouse on the allotment. They'll be very small. They haven't really developed greatly, and all the golden ones have gone to seed. It was an experiment of mine, but I need the greenhouse pretty soon because my cucumbers are going in there. So that is what I'm doing for weeding and maintenance. And feeding, I wasn't really planning on feeding anything actually, except I might feed my Zebruna shallots here in the kitchen garden because I want really nice big ones this year. That is Friday. So Saturday, the 8th of June, is another unfavourable day. So we've got 3 this week, unfavourable days. So I won't be doing any sowing at all on Saturday. However, Sunday, the 9th of June, is a leaves day, but it's a leaves day from 2 p.m. So the morning is still unfavourable, and then we go into leaves. I'm not doing any sowing because I am going to be sowing my leaves later on in the month. But if you do want to sow anything, keep sowing lettuce, of course, the cut and come and the head lettuce. What else in leaves? It's a little bit late to be doing... You could actually do some red cabbage if you want to. You'll get them later on in the winter. But you can do a savoy if you want to. Again, you'll get them later on in the winter. The main thing is keep up with your salads. That's quite important. That's if you eat salad. You may not eat salad. Transplanting. So I'm transplanting. I've got some little plugs of lettuce. They're going into bigger pots before they go out in the garden. I've also got cabbages, red cabbages on the go. I've got some kales. I'll see whether they're ready because I'm now starting to harvest my kales, my summer kales. I just harvested 2 over at the allotment because I want them for dinner. And as I harvest them, I put in new ones. So I've got kale all the time. Kale, I really like to eat fresh. And I like to eat it all year round. So I've always got, it's a little bit like lettuce, I've always got successions of kale on the go. Frozen kale is fine, but I do like it really, really fresh. And there's a great recipe that I do, kale with rice, which is really yummy. And we're going to have that tonight for dinner. What else am I doing? Kales and Brussels aren't ready yet. Kalettes I might pop my kalettes up into bigger pots as well. And that's it. And weeding and maintenance. Here I have the spinach that needs a weed. I've got a few lettuce that needs a weed as well. Nothing else here. The chard isn't ready to go in. Over the road, I'll open up my kale bed and have a look in there again. And that's about it. And then feeding just as and when. If I see something that needs a feed, that looks as though it needs a feed, I will feed it. And that is your week. That takes us to Sunday, the 9th of June. Okie dokie. So I will see you on Sunday evening, and before that I might put another video on if I get a chance. I keep saying I'm going to do my veggie pod video, but I have to do my veggie pod video, and I will see you all later. So if you like my videos, give me a thumbs up. That's fantastic, and make sure you subscribe as well, and then you can get my schedule. And you can use my schedule. You don't have to be gardening by the moon. You can just use the schedule to sow seeds and plant out. It works like that as well. It's just getting you organized for June already. The sun has come out. It was awful, absolutely awful this morning. And last night we had 5 degrees, 4 degrees actually, because it was 5 degrees in this greenhouse. Everything seemed to be okay. I had to batten down the hatches, and my little emerald greenhouse got down to 8 degrees. No, other way around. 8 degrees in here, emerald greenhouse, 5 degrees. So, and everything seems to be okay in there as well. When things are established, they tend to cope a little bit better. All right, I will see you later. Bye.